UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had. All right, you scoundrels, welcome to Unpaved. Yeah, wasn't a first-round pick. I'm play the role. Sakes. Adam G. Sager at Twitter. I'm at Sean Unfiltered. Sakes, check my shit out, man. Check me out. What do you think?
You're ready for the draft.
Please nobody come out with this look tonight, Sakes. Please. Do we really need sunglasses indoors, outdoors, even if the sun will be down? Do we really need them? Or should I keep these on because it just kind of looks the part? What should I do?
We know there's going to be shades. We know there's going to be suits that are way too tight that have something in the inside that they can show. And then that will be half of the interviews.
Nothing better than the shiny suit that you have to wear sunglasses for because it's a zoot suit and looks awful. Okay. None of those. None of those. But they will. If you got a message, I get it. But no sunglasses. Okay, no sunglasses indoors. I know, but you know what, Segs? The reason why they do it now, here's the part I do get. It's your night to wear what you want. I'm only being half, I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth, just joking. But if they're paying you $100,000 to wear their sunglasses out on the stage, I guess it would too, Segs. I could be bought.
Oh, for sure.
I can be bought. So I get it. But some of you that think you look good in that suit, you don't. But if somebody's, your clothier, and they say, hey, put this on, we'll dress you. And you'll start a new trend. Have at it. I lean towards classy with spice. It's fine. Dress it up with a nice tie, your watch. I get it all. But it's your night, and lives will be changed tonight. So have at it. But I can be bought. Sunglasses on stage for $100,000 just to come out and shake the commissioner's hand. I feel you, holy diver Bronco. Yeah, you can be bought. We all can be bought for as long as it's not illegal, right, Sags?
You're right.
That part. Right. All right, tonight. First round of the NFL draft. We're going to get to Jay Glazer, who's got a report, doesn't name names. It's not going to be for a quarterback, but something flashy or big time supposed to happen tonight in the first round. We got so much to discuss about how much movement there'll be. Segs and I will be talking about, the player movement, who's the big draw tonight. But Segs also new photos have surfaced, which we'll get to as well. Now, I try, and it's reliable. I think they were from the Post, right, Segs, that I saw online. I'm always guard against this because I'm always a little nervous for those people. Think, is it fake? And, a lot of people get okey-doke, but the Post is a reliable source, and however they do it. But I guess in 2020, we'll get to, but they were a little kissy-poo with Rossini and Vrabel, right?
Yep.
So with tonight being the draft, and Mike Vrabel, obviously some news surrounding him, not just this, but is going to take care of some business. But apparently in 2020, with the draft tonight, they're balls deep.
Yeah.
But now football's deep. Okay, Segs? Word on the street. I don't believe the word. I didn't see it. I'm just going by word on the street. But I'm sure it was just a platonic smooch. Okay?
Yeah, I'm sure the girlfriends were just outside the picture.
They were the ones taking the picture.
Yeah.
Taking it out. They're having a night out and just happened to be there. And it was just like when you come up to me and peck me on the cheek. Right? That Seg. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Great to be with you today. Lives will be changed tonight. Some are going to drop, and they're going to be like, oh, man. Some are going to rise. There'll be some surprises. Maybe not as many on day one, but some guys, guy who thought he was going to be a fourth rounder, maybe a second rounder, and vice versa. So tonight's round one. Mendoza's on the clock, and I think this is anticlimactic. We already know what that is. It starts probably with the second pick because the constantly changing segs of who's going to get who. But it makes for fun banter and 47 different mock drafts. But those guys put a lot of work into it. Good to be with you today, brother, on a Thursday opening round. I remember this day, but it was just that we did it on 2 days, Segs, or no, 1 day when I was in. We started and rolled all the way through, and it was the worst sports day of my life up to that point, even with injuries, because you think you're going one place and you don't, and then you have to regroup. And I remember my dad said, "Get your ass out of bed, go up and congratulate." I had like 12 players drafted that day on my team. Get back up to SC because I was in San Diego. Go congratulate your teammates, and because we weren't, unless you're the first, we weren't going to the draft. Yeah. And you were just and I didn't throw a party. But I thought I'd go sooner. Injuries set it back. It didn't happen. Went up and congratulated my teammates. My dad said, "Now put a chip on your shoulder and go make a team." 10 years later, it was worth it. So. And that'll happen to somebody, but you still, as long as you get a uniform and get a chance to play, you got a fighting chance to do some great things. We've seen it happen time and time again. So first round is not the only round, just like Division I football is not the only football. So here we roll, Segs, on a Thursday, ready to roll, brother.
Yeah, first round tonight. Jay Glazer of Fox Sports, he came out and basically said he knows of something huge that's supposed to happen, something extremely juicy was the exact quote that will happen on draft night in the first round. He says, quote, "I know something is happening. I just can't say it yet. I was told I can't say it until we are getting on the clock," meaning the team. So we'll see when Jay Glazer pops in and gives his, or when he tweets what is actually going on with whatever team he's talking about. I don't know what it is. I feel like the Cowboys moving up isn't that juicy.
But they're America's team, Segs. They haven't won a Super Bowl since the mid-'90s, but they're America's team.
Just feels like
Shouldn't we worry about them? Yeah.
Too many people have been saying it, though. So that doesn't make it juicy to me.
It's become commonplace for this chatter with this.
I feel like it's some sort of player trade that maybe we don't see coming. And whoever that is, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if something extremely juicy happens. And then if it doesn't happen, then, everybody questions Jay Glazer for just kind of clickbait where you say something, get everybody talking, and then nothing really happens.
That's a tease in the industry, Segs. We don't tease it hard, even if you don't pay it off. Now, Jay usually pays these off, but what may be juicy to Jay may not be to you and me, right?
Right.
If that means that that the Arizona Cardinals are trading out of the 3 spot so somebody can trade up to get Jeremiah Love in 3 ahead of what may be the Titans and maybe the Giants. There's been a little more groundswell for a Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love at 5 as well with the Giants. Yes. I've seen a lot of it. And I'm with you. First thing I thought when I hit this, I said, well, normally it's surrounding a quarterback. A.J. Brown hit, but then we're going back to that. If it was the Patriots, that June 1st thing, right, Segs? And salary cap. So Is it that? Is there a moving player? Lawrence has already been traded for the 10th pick. Right. That was pretty impressive. The Cowboys have been chattered and bantered about for a while now. So where is it? You're not getting juicy if you're the Kansas City Chiefs going from 9 to 7, or if you're the Texans moving up. We can go through it. Usually we think about this. It's some big perimeter star or edge rusher moving. Is there still a chance that Max Crosby's playing somewhere else?
What I was just going to say. Is he the juicy part of
right? And now that would be if Crosby goes somewhere. You're like, damn, they traded Max Crosby to the whoever. I'm just using examples. To 4 to the Tennessee type, whatever it is. I don't know, but to me, when you say juicy, it's a player trade for a draft pick. That's a player moving. It is in this draft, unless it's a guy like Crosby or an A.J. Brown, what would it be? The Cowboys, if they move up, we all kind of expect it.
Yeah.
And it is the Jeremy. Is Love okay? Somebody moved up to get Love at 3. How juicy is that? I think some of us think Jeremiah Love could go at 3. Segs. I wouldn't be shocked if Caleb Downs, even though he's a safety, does go to the Giants and that team, because I think he's the best high IQ, best football player on the defensive side overall in the draft. So it's just a true football player. So I don't know. I don't know, Segs. It to me, it's a guy. It's a player to be traded for a draft pick. And the one thing that sticks out, maybe even more than the A.J. Brown thing, is the Max Crosby talk. Yeah. I don't know what else it would be.
Yeah, I don't. I'm.
You don't
trying
think
to
some
go through.
quarterback's moving, do you, say?
No, I just
No
don't see
star. They
that
don't
guy that
do
would be
that.
out there
Agreed.
that would move.
Right.
You know, there's
It's
talk of one other thing I think it maybe could be is if the Cowboys move up, maybe George Pickens is part of the deal. They say they're going to only play him on a franchise tag. So maybe they move him to get up and get a Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate. And
less money, starter, CD Lamb's
right.
there. You don't want to piss. I mean, Pickens had a really hell of a season. So let's say it is Pickens, just for the hell of it, okay? Because they say we're not going to negotiate a long-term deal. He's playing under the franchise. You know, all that chatter. We that's what they're saying about Pickens.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say it is him. Who? Where's the movement to? Arizona with the third pick? Is it that high? Or are you trading the third pick for Pickens?
I don't think that makes sense.
Is it the Giants with the fifth pick?
But do you want to trade him in division? That's the question I had, because that was my first thought, was the Giants at 5. Cleveland at 6 maybe makes some sense. They have a lot of money. There have been talk that it's going to be Fano. A lot of people think that the pick's going to be, if they stay there, that the pick is going to be Cleveland's going to be the offensive line, right? So I mean, we'll see. And I mean, they still could trade down and maybe even get Fano at 12. Say it's 12 and Pickens. He's the most versatile lineman in the draft. He may end up being a guard in the NFL anyway, possibly. Right. So, I mean, I think, I'm trying to pull up this draft. Yeah, here we go. So if you go from 12 to 6, that's 400. So that would mean Pickens would basically. You're talking about the value, Segs, the value in the trade pick, right? The value of each pick. So if you did Pickens in 12 to, let's say, Cleveland at 6, that would make Pickens worth about the 50th pick in this draft in terms of his value, which needs to equal, Cleveland's value. He's better than the 50th pick of this draft. Yes, but in my opinion, if Dallas isn't going to pay him, would somebody give up a first-round pick for him? I don't think so, because then you got to turn around and pay him. But if Cleveland says, hey, we can get Pickens, we've dropped 6 spots, possibly still get Fano at 12, and we got 26 to go get another weapon or another offensive lineman or someone for the defense to help out Myles Garrett and Schlesinger and others. Maybe that makes sense for Cleveland. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. That the Cowboys are at 12, Segs. Is that correct? Yeah. 12. Is it juicy? Is juicy? I don't even know. I'm just throwing this out. It's a spitball. Would you consider juicy that the Kansas City Chiefs trade with the Cowboys, take Pickens and give them the 9th pick of the draft? Or do they stick with a young receiver if they go receiver, and maybe they want the 12th pick and they go get, maybe they think a guy like Caleb Downs will be available at 12, that they trade for a veteran receiver to go with Worthy and Rashee Rice, right? Yeah, I mean, there's been some chaos there, as we know, with the Rice situation, right, Segs? Yeah. And who's the best fixer and can handle personalities in this league as a head coach? Over the Andy Reid, Michael Vick. Anybody's been through controversy. So I just wonder, and I've never even heard this from him. I'm just thinking of looking at this order and say, well, who needs an offensive weapon? Veteran. Who probably would pay? Kansas City Chiefs. Who wins? But is it worth it to the Cowboys to move up 3 spots? What difference is that going to make? Get a rookie receiver because one of those guys will be there. I don't know. Or is it that the Rams are making a big trade to move up? And I think McShay at 13. He has the Rams at 13. Are the Rams, Sigs, they're not moving up to take Simpson. They don't have to move to take Simpson. There's no way, right? Because there's no way the Jets are taking Simpson with they're already passed. There's no way somebody 16. Moving up there. I'm trying to think in front of them. There's nobody in front of him that would take it. He's not going to be picked in the top. So I'm just thinking when he says juicy, or is it a Carson Beck in the first round thing? Somebody trading? I don't know. So I'm just trying to think what Jay knows. Since it's not involved in a draft quarterback, the Rams can get what they want at 13, right? Yeah. But Segs, I don't know. They're willing to always part with really good draft picks to get players. Are they involved in? Do they want some player
but they can still get a receiver if they're worried about, because I
Yeah.
think aren't Adams and Nakua in their last year of their contract coming up?
I believe both of them are, yes.
So, but I don't know. I'm just throwing out there because Jay's connected to a lot of people. I'm trying to think what the oh my gosh is for this draft that he may know.
He's definitely one of the guys that when you hear say he's got something, you trust it.
Right.
There's others that, you feel like maybe a little clickbait. But we'll see.
Yeah, you
we'll
move
see
up 2 slots, and that's juicy. No, I don't think Jay would say that if it was just that. Got to be somebody big. Max Crosby keeps jumping into my head. Sings. I don't know.
All right.
I hope not for my Raiders.
The story that just won't go away. Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel. I mean, we had new news that we were going to hit, and then a couple minutes before the show, hour before the show, New York Post breaks more news with new photos from 6 years ago in 2020 at a bar in New York City, holding hands. You see he's holding her arm. They're close. And then there's the picture where it looks like he's leaned up, giving her a kiss. And by all reports from multiple media people in this area have said that Mike Vrabel, not last night, the night before, I think it was, New York Post reached out for a comment, basically saying, we got these. They're about to come out. We're putting them out. Do you have any comments? And supposedly Vrabel said no. And that's when they put out that he was going to counsel.
So what kind of counseling? What kind of counseling, Segs?
I don't know.
It's not. I mean, it's not. Is it sex addiction counseling? Is it just overall counseling to get you through this controversy that's been self-inflicted? Is that what this is? Listen, it comes down to this. Stop. The denial's done, right? I know you got something funny, but the denial's done. Both of them. You got to admit you made a mistake. Move on with it. It just. It's good. The longer haul is probably going to be dealing with what's going to go on at home, and that chaos that you're going to have to deal with. You got to work out with your family and your kids, and the embarrassment when your kids or somebody goes to school, or the husbands go to work, or the wife, and then she goes to the grocery store and they're looking. I mean, the embarrassment they go through is not. It's not fair. And I'm not a marriage counselor, so whatever counseling Vrabel's going through, good. At least admitting that when you go to counseling, you're not admitting that everything's good. Like, trust me. That ain't why you're going. Alcoholics don't go to AA to admit that, hey, I never had a drink. They go to admit they had one and fix it. So whatever his counseling is, good. I hope it turns out Mike gets what needs to give him peace of mind, and Rossini does too. I always want people to win, but right now it just continues to fester because we don't get many comments from him other than the comment, this is the most blatant, unspoken answer on the planet. It's obvious.
Yeah.
At least from my eyes.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them bad people. It just makes stupid decision makers going to have a lot of heartache they have to go through.
Right. And it just makes the denial immediately look worse, and the trying to lie it off by saying, oh, I was with some girlfriends and he just happened to, be there. And we, all that bullshit that they tried throwing out there. Everybody knows it's bullshit. I saw a funny picture, I guess, an AI picture. Someone said, here's the counseling he's going to. It was Robert Kraft. It was Ema Udoka, who the coach of the Boston Celtics who slept with that slept with the owner's wife. It was Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend. It was, I think Tiger Woods was involved.
Was Antonio in there? Did I see that?
Yeah, Antonio Brown was in there. It was just like a support group more so than the counseling. It was just like,
could be on something, Sakes.
That's where this, this is where
counseling
it kind of comes with. Yeah. And there's also new photos from Arizona last month when all this broke of them sitting at a table eating breakfast by themselves with no other girls involved. She's supposedly on a girls' trip. I mean, there is so much evidence that whoever had these pictures and whoever had the pictures of the bar in 2020, when they came out and denied this stuff and tried to play it off like it was nothing, they were just sitting back being like, dude, I'm about to make even more money. Like, this is just getting even better. because
what's
they could
crazy
sell
about
these pictures to the Post or TMZ, and it's crazy
with
that
social media,
this is
man?
what it's come down to.
They know who you are. The Vrabel, we're seeing they're on TV enough. Listen, and Lucy in our comments makes a good point. Vrabel, she talks about they need to own it and keep moving.
Yeah.
And I'm with you, Lucy. The spouses and children, and any of us who've been through some sort of controversy, it will wreck your insides. I know. When a kid come home from school and said, "Dad, this happened. Mom, this happened." If it was a mistake, self-inflicted, overinflated or not, when it hits that level of a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, it ain't good. Because that's a lifetime scar.
Yeah.
Believe me, I still got scars from some stupidity in my life I've made. Forget the surgical scars. And you know what? People are worried about, think about this. They're worried about Diana, and I'm not their marriage counselor. I don't like with Tiger Woods when everybody thought Tiger owes us apology. Tiger Woods don't owe you any damn apology. Yeah. You rooted for his comeback as much as anybody. We talk about Rossini's career. How's it going to affect the Patriots football team? Are they going to be okay? Football keeps going. Oh, by the way, husband and wife.
Yeah.
Kids. They always get the last laugh saying, you know what? Football's going to end at some point for Vrabel. Rossini, if she goes on and reports more and reinvents herself and gets all her credibility back and she did some good work and Vrabel's a hell of a coach, I don't think they're horrible human beings. I think they made some stupid decisions, and they may have some horrible in them. There is no question.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do a lot of good things with their families, so that's hard for me to judge. But I can tell you this, that the collateral damage for years is going to last longer with the families, because you think that football and your reporting job may not trust you, or the fans that read your work. Second, you're 5 minutes late for something, or you're going out of town to do something. What's the other one say? Trust. I'm telling you what, man, when you lose that trust, the trudge is so long.
Yeah.
And there's so many different compartments to this. So at some point in time, you got to stand in front of it and just deal with it, and then get to the counseling or whatever it is. And the one thing I don't want it to be, if you're smart, that the counseling's real, that it's not optics. Like what Tiger's doing, I think is it Switzerland that he went to, Segs? Did I read? He's in Switzerland.
Think so.
Whatever it is, rehab, counseling, if you're going there because it looks good and when you come out, you're going to get a pat on the back, you'll be back.
Yeah.
If you're going there for the right reasons, and the only reason I could say this, I've seen it with drug guys. I've had a homeless man live with me for 2 years, as we mentioned, Segs. And by the way, I'm heartbroken. Russell passed away. I just want you to know that. And so he lived with me for 2 years, and it broke my heart. And I was in tears over the weekend when I found this out, because I was checking on him. That's for another story. But that, whether it's marriage counseling, whatever it might be. And one thing you don't think about, what do the kids got to go through? Not just the verbiage, but is there counseling that affects that? And I don't know, maybe husband and wife are just no big deal. I knew it happened anyway, and I just dealt with it because I wanted to stay in the relationship. I don't know. That's not for me. I know this. So collateral damage will take a long time to fix. It's easier to fix a football thing than it is to fix family or credibility. That's where the problem's going to come in. And it's something that'll be asked for a long time. Got to get out in front of it and realize you screwed up major, and you may have to go through a hell of the climb back ain't a speed bump in the parking lot, brother. I'm telling you now. I haven't seen TV in 20 years.
Yeah. 20
years. You tell me.
Yeah. Vrabel did release a statement earlier. It says a little long here, but I'm going to read the whole thing. As I said the other day, I promised my family, this organization, and this team that I was going to give them the best version of me that I can possibly give them. In order to do so, I have committed to seeking counseling starting this weekend. This is something that I have given a lot of thought to, and is something I would advise a player to do if I was counseling them. I have always wanted to lead by example, and I believe this is what I have to do to be the best husband, father, and coach that I possibly can be. This is not an easy thing for me to admit, but it is one thing that I know will make me a better person. I appreciate the support that everyone has given me and promise a stronger resolve as a result. So, Sean, with that statement, first of all, and maybe Diana Rossini knew the statement was coming, but it's basically a blatant, like, yes, this is all true. We did it all. And the way we handled it was completely wrong to start this. But
It's
also,
an admittance, Segs. It's an
yes,
admittance. Whether
clear
she may not approach it like that, but it's out, and you can't fool them now.
Right. But I think on the sports side of things, on the New England Patriots side of things, Mike Vrabel is going to be missing Saturday, where it's rounds 4 through 7 of the NFL draft when he is the head coach. I'm sorry. I get that counseling is important to you. Do it Sunday. Do it Monday. It's the off season. This ain't like we're trying to plan for a big game and you're taking a quick, 2-hour session. You're missing a very important day because this is when you find depth to your roster. This is maybe when you find
drafted in
a Tom Brady.
What round was Vrabel drafted in?
I don't even remember.
Mid round. I don't think he was a first round, but fifth rounder, fourth. I don't know. When was he drafted? Vrabel drafted.
Drafted in the third round.
Third round. Okay. So we got that day 2, 6? That's day 2, right?
Two. Late day 2.
Okay. Well, let me give you and you're right. I would hope on defense of that, Segs, and it makes for a good argument, that they've prepared enough that they just go down the list, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to, and I don't know, at counseling, can he take a phone call from them and say, hey, we're on the clock? I don't know. Segs.
So then it's like, how committed are you to counseling?
Right.
You're taking phone,
Exactly.
They just
my
put
point.
themselves in such a dumb position with
yes, for us
all
to
of this.
question. For us, right. If he's on it, it's like, well, you're a counseling. If you're worried about the draft, just be at the draft. But players will make the team that are drafted on day 3, right? So they will make the team. I mean, I was an undrafted. They'll make the team and maybe impact it in a huge way. But here's what this is, Sigs. And you say, well, why Saturday? Why not Sunday? Why not Monday? Start the fresh the week. Your life isn't going to change from Saturday to Sunday, good or bad. Exactly. It ain't changing. Here's the way I look at it. And listen, I've told you that I don't know Mike really well, but I've been a fan of his as a coach. Yeah. And like I said, I can compartmentalize enough. Even if you think one's shitty person in this category, I can think he's still a good football coach. I hate Steve Kerr's politics. He's one hell of a basketball coach. But Segs, with this is simple. This is an optics move to let the world know that this is more important. Well, if it's that important, then don't be at the draft for the first 2 days and get your ass counseling today.
Exactly.
If it is, and I hope it's important to Mike. I'm not thinking for him, but from my optics, it says, well, if you're going to wait till Saturday, just wait till Monday or Sunday. After that, get it in for your team because you still have an accountability response. They fucking pay you.
Yeah.
You still have a responsibility, even though you're all prepared. You got a GM. You're still there because 8 of the guys you had on your list may go with the 8 picks before you. Who's the 9th one? We want Mike's emotional feeling or his heartfelt feeling about this linebacker. Does he fit with what Mike likes? Mm-hmm. So you trust the people you hire, but you still want to be there. That's one. And they are paying you. It is your fiscal responsibility to the city, to your team. So if you're going to do it, then I got news. You want to fix you want to make the optics look better and you want to know how it's different? Tell us today, you're holding a press conference, the draft is handled, we've got it all of it's in. I trust my front office. They know how I feel. I'm going to counseling today. I will not have an earpiece in. My phone's not allowed there. We're on our own. Yeah. Now do that. Because in truth, one day on a Saturday or Sunday is not going to make the difference. But you want to change the look? See you now. Go now. So it's saying this is part of, it's like anything. It's part, obviously, you're serious, but you're kind of serious. How serious are you going to be when it's done, and how long do you stand? Because I got news for you. Counseling ain't changing your life in a week either. From people I've talked to in certain counties, it's a grind. And so I hope it does work out, and I hope it's for the right reasons. But I don't know the difference. You have a responsibility to your family and your team, but right now the draft is here. If you can put it off a day, probably. And if you're really serious about it, why not wake up today? Now, if he'd woke up today, and I said, Vrabel just said that he's going to counseling, it won't be in any day of the draft. Would you say, okay, he's serious about turning things around?
Yeah, now, yes. And I mean, I still think it's something that, like you said, your life isn't going to change over the span of 72 hours to the point where counseling is no longer even applicable.
The counseling office isn't shutting down next Monday or Tuesday.
Right.
It's still going to be there.
It's not like he's going to get better in these next 3 days or on just Saturday.
Matter of fact, the heartache's going to be worse the next 3 days when he's there because you got to empty the bucket at counseling at those type of sessions.
So I just don't understand it. And one thing that'll be interesting to see tonight, Mike Vrabel is supposed to talk after the Patriots make their pick at 31. We'll see if they do make a pick. They could trade into the early second, and then they don't talk tonight. But he is not scheduled to talk Friday or Saturday. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if they trade out. It'll be interesting to see if Elliot Wolf, the VP of player personnel, comes in instead tonight. And that doesn't put Vrabel in front of more questions about this instead of the draft pick, because this night should be about the draft pick. It shouldn't be about Vrabel's stupidity that he made in his decisions. It should be about the kid that, just got a life-changing moment happen to him. But yet now your coach is screwed up with dumb decisions.
Well, and now it stole thunder. It definitely has. It's a distraction tonight. The only way Mike Vrabel talks tonight to any media outlet is if they all agree not to talk about anything but the football pick.
Right.
That's it. Because if you're going to go anywhere else, they're not going to run him out there. And then there are people like, well, you shouldn't ask that question during draft night or something. Well, then don't run him out there.
Yeah, and there's going to be and if that were to happen, then you're going to have other media people be like, well, what the hell? This is your job. Like, this is the biggest story going in the NFL right now, even with the first round of the NFL draft tonight. It is Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini, because what it could mean for others in the media business, in the coaching business, it is just it is not a good situation. And the only people to blame here are Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini.
It's a self-inflicted decision, man, that they screwed up. It's just simple. And 100%. It's not a life sentence. It's not a life sentence, but there will be scars for the rest of your life. They'll be waking up in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, saying, "How did I fuck this up?"
Yep.
If they want to know from experience, I know some people that can help them.
Yeah.
Not far from me. Matter of fact, real close to me. Matter of fact, me. Okay.
Yeah.
I can direct a little bit. So.
We come back from our commercial. We're going to talk a little NBA, the Steve Kerr situation, what could transpire along with that in a big circle that I have. And then we'll ask, what's our big prediction for tonight? What do we think will happen in terms of, do we think there's a surprise? We know Mendoza's won. What do we think happens after? We'll talk about that after our commercial. But first, tell me about Augusta Precious Metals.
Augusta Precious Metals. Guys, when you're protecting what you've already earned, IRA, 401k, it's not taxed when it comes to gold and silver and precious metals. Let's discuss moving forward how you're going to protect what you've already earned. Protect what matters most with gold and silver. Augusta Precious Metals is your premier gold IRA company. Diversify, protect, preserve. Hedge against inflation. That's what this does. Precious metals, they are tangible assets. Protect retirement savings. That retirement you've already earned, is cash doing that? Physical gold and silver, education first approach. No sales tactics at Augusta Precious Metals. That's why I was drawn to them. Drawn to them because they're not pressuring you and hammering you over the head with something. They're trying to educate you so you know what's best for you, your family, your peace of mind, your security now, later, and in the distant future. How much time you have, how much money you have. Precious Metals. It's your premier gold IRA company. That is Augusta Precious Metals. Secure your future with tangible assets. Visit SeanBuysGold.com. SeanBuysGold.com. Gold and silver continue to rise. And it's one of those, there's no guarantees in life or in sports or in money. But I'll be damned if gold and precious metals isn't about as close as you're going to get. Text Sean to 35052. Again, there's no guarantees, but there is a guarantee that you'll get educated on precious metals. Again, text Sean to 35052 or go to SeanBuysGold.com. SeanBuysGold.com. Free information, no obligation, guidance, education, and confidence. SeanBuysGold.com.
All right, thanks to Augusta Precious Metals, our great partner here on Unpaved. All right, Sean, in the NBA, we got the NBA playoffs going on. Some good basketball, some bad basketball. I don't know if you saw the Devin Booker offensive foul in the OKC Phoenix game last night, where, I mean, basically players didn't even touch each other, and they called an offensive foul on Booker, and then SGA goes down, and almost the same play happens, and, of course, they call the foul on the Phoenix Suns.
At times, SGA Segs is getting too caught. He's such a great player. He's getting caught up in the flop game, and it's bothering me.
It's really
Phantom call again last night. The officials are putrid in some of these series.
A big off the court story is with the Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr, if he will return as the coach of the Golden State Warriors next season, and all signs are leaning to no, that he will leave Golden State. We'll see where he ends up. But I have a little circle here for you, Sean, that I'm going to throw at you. Steve Kerr leaves, right? Reports came out almost immediately, and this is because of ties to the Lacob family. They have a relationship with this man, that the Warriors would target Todd Golden from the University of Florida. Laura, our great behind-the-scenes person, close your ears. I know you don't want to hear Todd Golden's leaving. They probably have the number one team in the country coming into next season as things stand right now.
Yep.
But there's reports that they want to at least talk to Todd Golden and try and convince him to come be the Warriors coach if Steve Kerr leaves. Okay, that makes some sense. You want to get one of the best college coaches. He's young. You kind of replace him with what a Steve Kerr was when he was young coming in.
We're going to need some younger players too, Segs, because some of their great players are winding it down a little bit.
Well, who just left an NBA team?
Billy Donovan.
That has college experience. Oh, and it happens to be at the University of Florida where he won 2 national championships.
The last team to repeat, if I'm not mistaken, in college basketball
was under Billy Donovan, who just decided to leave the Bulls, and he leaves the Bulls where he could have went up the ladder and become basically president of basketball ops with that team, and decided to walk away from that organization, which tells you, the team I have right above my head here with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman is my favorite team. But they are a dumpster fire when a guy could run the whole organization says, nah, I'm going to walk away.
You're not telling me as part of this circle that Florida goes to Golden State, Chicago goes to Florida, Golden State to Chicago where he played?
Steve Kerr goes back to where he played, made one of the biggest shots in Chicago Bulls history on the pass from Michael Jordan. What if they call him and say, Michael Reinsdorf calls and says, hey, Steve, why don't you come back? If you want to be the GM, we can go talk to Bob Myers, who they had a great relationship together in Golden State, brought that team together to win multiple championships. We can bring him in if you want. Yep. Bob's just been on TV, been talked about getting back in the game. Maybe that's a complete circle of just 3 places, but they all replace each other, and it all makes sense because, like I said, Todd Golden has that relationship with the Lacob family. Reports are already out there from Kevin O'Connor, who says they want him as the Warriors coach. Steve Kerr leaves, goes back to where he played with Michael Jordan and won 3 championships. And then Billy Donovan returns to college. Remember, he was rumored for the North Carolina job.
Yep.
Didn't get it. Mike Malone did. He goes back to where he was last a college coach in winning national championships. I don't think it's crazy. Will it happen? I doubt it, but it's not crazy, is it?
No, it's not crazy at all. Listen, Segs, the temptation, I don't know why, and I do know why, but if I'm in a top 10 or 15 program in college, the pay is no longer the discrepancy pay. And
I know.
I'm talking about football and basketball. The discrepancy in pay, matter of fact, there's plenty of college coaches making more than the NFL head coaches. So in football, the discrepancy is no longer the reason you leave. Ego, and people still feel that as a college football or college basketball coach, it's AAA compared to the NBA or NFL, which is not true. But that's that feeling of ego. I want to go. I got a national title. I want to go get this. If I'm gold, I'd say, why the hell would I want to go leave Coach that? At some point, Steph's going to move on and try to make the senior tour in golf. At some point, Draymond's going to be. I mean, they're going to have to retool big time as they roll forward. And with Steve Kerr, listen, it's probably getting stale for both sides a little bit. And while Steve Kerr's politics make me want to throw open my mouth and throat punch, the other side of it, he's a smart guy. He's been through a lot in his life and is a Hall of Fame coach and has been phenomenal as a coach there. But if you want to know anything about politics, just call up him and Pop, and they'll tell you anytime you want to know, which is fine. But I'm okay with it. And I think Steve Kerr, if you want to go somewhere else and rebuild it, would be great at it. I think he's brilliant. I just disagree on that side. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's a hell of a coach. But then Golden, I'm thinking, dude, don't do it. You can win another national title. You're the king in Gainesville. Why go deal with a bunch of these egos? Even though there's these in the college, don't. But the temptation to say, I'm good with the big boys. Saban got attracted to it. Yeah. Everybody does. You get attracted. The ones that don't, like a guy like Tom Izzo, he's even listened, but Tom's stated, Tom's admitted he's listened. So
there's talk that he was listening this summer.
Well, Donovan wins too and leaves, Segs. He wins the Billy Donovan wins and leaves to the NBA. So the temptation's there. And if somebody wants to make it tough enough, you can blow the field away money-wise.
Yeah.
And if Kerr stays at Golden State, well, then they'll do well because Steve knows basketball. But to me, I hate the fact, other than that, I know the ego gets in the way, but I do understand the other side, why Billy Donovan would say, hell yes, I want to leave and go somewhere else. I'm tired of the NBA. I'm going to go back to college where it just felt different and you can make a little bit more of an impact. Because in the fight between coach and player, ask Mike Malone how that worked out in Denver. The coach and player battle, the coach rarely wins things, unless your name's a Pat Riley or one of those cats, Phil Jackson. Even then, at some point, it gets you. And maybe Steve Kerr, it'll get him this time, and who knows what he'll do next, broadcast or what have you. If I'm Billy Donovan, I don't blame him. If I'm Golden, I stay there and make Florida even more golden. You don't need to. Yet the name Golden at Golden State, there's a whole big ring to this. A young guy and enthusiastic and stuff and knows the ownership. I just, when I hear this smoke, Segs, it makes me wonder if there's real fire because the Donovan thing just out of nowhere, maybe Billy knows something the rest of us don't. I don't think Kerr's going back to Golden State. I think it's stale on both ends. I think it's time for a move.
So. Yeah, I think so too. All right, we got the NFL draft tonight. Before we hit what we think could be the big splash, our big prediction for the draft tonight, Sean, I just saw this and it bothered me maybe more than it should. We talked about the Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini, and I double checked to make sure this is true, and it is. So we saw these pictures from 2020, right? At the bar in New York City, holding hands, obviously kissing. Not good, right? 4 years ago, or in 2021, so he's almost 5, she had a son, right?
Oh, no.
His name is Michael. And Michael is not in her husband's name. I checked. I mean, just another, all this shit she said about her husband on TV. Just, kind of throwaway comments, kind of laughing, kind of probably thinking she's joking.
Say it. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not funny. Right.
And now all this comes out, and if you're this guy, her husband, she's been with Mike Vrabel obviously for years, and been able to keep it quiet. And now her 4-year-old son, who was born after these pictures, is named Michael.
You're not suggesting.
I'm not suggesting anything.
Right.
I'm just going off the name. I'm not saying anything any other way. I'm just going off the name of this. That she would name her kid Michael when she knows she's been cheating with Mike Vrabel.
It's almost in the long term. And at this point in time, they never thought they'd be in this situation. Number one, you thought you were, what's the word I'm looking for? Just unbreakable. You're untouchable. Is the word. Untouchable. And now fast forward to 2026 is like, oh, now all these questions come up. Now, if you're the husband, don't you look back and start to, if I'm the husband, I'm just telling you what I asked. One is, how long has it been going on? You've been living this lie. And I'm going to tell you one other question you asked. You're starting to check timeline, brother. I hate to say it. I would wonder, does that baby look like me? I'm not saying, but I'm talking about from the husband standpoint. I would sit back and say, wait a second, 2020, 2021, who knows how long before 2020 was going? I don't know. But I also remember I thought I saw something where Tom Brady was getting drafted, or a quote from Diana Rossini said, they're not drafted, but we're going to go get Tom Brady. And she said, no, they're going, Ryan Tannehill's the guy.
Yes,
and Ryan Tannehill. You hear what happens is you open up a can of worms for everything to be questioned along the way. And then Michael, so if you're the husband now, it's like, damn, you knew this was going on. That's even a bigger slap in my face. One, if both these families stay together, it'd be like, damn, they're stronger than a lot of other families would be to be able to withstand that, the husband and the wife in both families. But wouldn't you, Segs, on? I'm not suggesting, I didn't know this until you just said it. I didn't know
I didn't either. I saw it on Twitter, and I double checked it based off,
reliable sources,
Google, and where, her kid's name.
Right. Wouldn't you, let me ask honestly, would you not wonder, would you ask yourself if it was
immediately? Immediately.
I mean, I'm not saying it is or isn't. I'm talking about as the husband, not as a media guy saying that's not his kid. I have no idea. And in truth's sakes, for the kid's sake, I hope I don't care. That's for them to work out.
Yes.
I'm just 100%. Saying, for me, if I was the husband, I would say I would start, and it's not fair to the kid, but I'd start looking closer at features. I'm telling you.
Wait a second.
Yes, wouldn't you? I would.
And her openly doing this, naming her kid Michael,
is a slap in the face. Arrogant as hell.
Yes. So the fact that now I'm leaning more towards, I think it was Lucy who said earlier that they're terrible people. Diana Rossini might be a terrible person.
Segs, if this is true like this, I mean, well, if it is their son's name Michael and they were having allegedly, which appears they were.
Yeah.
It almost, and then you start saying, what were those private conversations between the two like? I care about you. I'm going to name that right. my baby Michael,
or
because I care about you.
If you're Vrabel and you see, okay, she had her baby and she named it Michael, aren't you calling her and being like,
what are you doing?
Are you doing?
Yes, of course. That's what I'm saying. This stuff, then it opens up every can of worms before you know it. And Segs, coincidences are one thing. I'm not a big coincidence guy. Yeah. It's just, I don't know, man. It's awful because I know they're waking up every day and the barrage every day. Anybody that's been through that probably knows that that's not fun in social media times. And now knowing this, and that's put it this way, if that is true, it's trashy. It's as trashy as it gets.
This is the first time we're talking about this story. I've never felt bad because they're two public people. They've put themselves in the public eye, being a head coach of an NFL team and being a media member that's all over social media, reporting on NFL news and doing all this stuff. And so I never felt bad. This is the first time I kind of feel like gross talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
And talking about them, or especially her right now. Yeah. Where I'm just what the fuck?
And you know what's crazy? This isn't an accident. This is a decision. What an accident that happens.
Another decision.
Yeah, it's a decision. I'm talking about the whole thing. Knowing every single time. I just don't know how you know that eventually everybody ain't clapping for you. They're just not. And trust me, everybody that you're going, when you're riding high and everything's going, everybody's not clapping for you. Matter of fact, some are looking for a reason to tear it down. And their lives now, even though Vrabel's keeping his gig, the lives have been torn down, but that's a self-inflicted problem. And it's your privacy until you make it public, and being out in public, you're no longer private. It's the way it works. Hate to say it, but it is. Sucks. Yeah. And I'm more concerned about the people that it's affecting in their home. When I say concerned, I don't know the families, but I damn well know it is that they're having to answer questions they should never have to answer.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
the wife and husband and kids.
These photos were reportedly from March 2020. I believe it was March 11th. March 15th is when she reported the Titans are not going after Tom Brady. They're trying to get an extension. I think it was an extension done with.
You think
Ryan
this is all coincidental? Right? Do you believe in coincidences like this?
And Sean, this is March 2020.
Follow the trail, brother. Yep.
This is March 2020. She got married in September of 2020.
And remember,
to her husband now.
They must have had this picture just before you have to wear a mask in a bar COVID stuff, because that's
the other thing I thought of earlier.
Why aren't you wearing a mask? Why aren't you wearing a mask?
Must have been before NYC closed down. I'd be curious now to look when NYC really closed down.
Couldn't have been much longer than that, Segs. I know exactly the time it did here in Texas when I was here at the time.
Yeah, we were doing the shows together, the morning show down there in Houston, and I just remember it like we got there and it was like, remember our partner, his girlfriend at the time got sick, really sick, and was like in the hospital, and we're just worried about her. We didn't know This was before COVID even became a thing. And then we were never even sure if she had it. And it was like, and then it just took off and took off. And then it was just chaos for, a while. It was
I'm so glad I didn't get vaccinated. I'll just leave that at that.
Gosh, just insane.
I had to quit the job first. We almost faced that at the company I was with. We almost we're about a month away from the come to Jesus.
Yeah.
And my boss afterwards said, you weren't going to do it, were you? I said, you're damn right I wasn't going to do it. I'm going to do it for home or I'm going to find a new job. I wasn't doing it. Still won't, and I'm proud of it. Never again.
Crazy stuff. And yeah, those that is something I thought about with those pictures of when I saw March of 2020. I'm like, man, that is COVID.
Mask up.
That's when it started.
6 feet apart. What are you doing smooching? Mask up.
Yeah.
Just fuck your mask up. Anyway.
All right. I know we've gone a little longer than we like to go, but give me a big surprise.
You go first. You always. I want to hear yours. I got mine.
I think
it'll be great because we haven't discussed this.
I'm trying to decide where. I think there is that big trade up for the Cowboys. And again, this isn't shocking, but I don't think it's 6. I had in my original mock that we talked about on this show, probably a month ago. I had Dallas moving to 3, and I believe it was for Arvell Reese. And I had Bailey going 2. Yes. And I had him moving up for the pass rusher Reese out of Ohio State. I still think that happens. I don't think 6 is far enough for Dallas. I think they want that game changer. They want the guy that kind of
1 year starter in college,
yeah.
1 year starter in college.
Kind of models his game after that Micah Parsons style, where he was an off the ball linebacker that would drop down and rush the passer. Doesn't have a ton of experience coming out of college rushing the passer, but has all the physical tools to do it and do it at a very high level. I think that's the surprise. It's not Dallas going up to 6. I think it's 3. And then I wouldn't be shocked to see kind of what Houston did, where remember Houston was at 3 3, I think it was, or I'm trying to remember exactly how they did it. They dropped back and then moved back up for Will Anderson.
Right.
Yeah. So, however they did it, but that big move up to 3 to get, I could see Arizona dropping to 12 and then coming back up to get, or no, it wasn't Houston I'm talking about. It was Miami a few years ago when they drafted Tua. They went from 3 to 12, I think it was exactly, and then they went 12 to 6 and got Tua at 6 or 5, one of those two. So I think that's something Arizona could do in that same ilk, where Arizona's like, okay, we get some more assets. Now we'll give up a little less, go up to 6 with Cleveland, who wants to move back. And then we can get Sonny Styles or, maybe a Reuben Bain or something like that at 6.
I'm going to do something. I know we're not talking about, we already talked about the Jay Glazer stuff. I don't know what it is. I hope it's not Max Crosby as far as that's the juicy stuff. I'm going to just take a flyer that may not come true, but I'm thinking, okay, what moves? And while you're talking about Reese for the Cowboys, because it's the Cowboys, I'm going to say this. And I don't know who's going to do it, because we didn't talk about this. You just brought it up last segment. Say, let's do it. I'm going to say somebody outside the top 10 trades with the Arizona Cardinals to get Jeremiah Love because they're afraid the Titans are taking him. I think that's the one that somebody loves this back and may go against what they normally believe. And I'm starting to look down at who it might be. I don't know, Segs. But somebody that's not in the top 10 trades up and grabs him at number 3 because they think he's the best offensive football player in this draft. That's what I think. Yeah,
I'm going through teams real quick. Miami, I could see maybe,
possibly.
But they do have Achane. Maybe they could trade him.
Are the Saints
Dallas wouldn't
Segs?
shock me. I know they have Javonte Williams. That wouldn't shock me. The Cowboys making that same trade and taking Love instead of Arvell Reese. 13 Rams, no. 14 Ravens. They have.
Where's Detroit?
17.
What about Detroit wanting to go up and get add Love to Gibbs like they had with Montgomery? Yeah.
That would be.
I think so. That would be a shocker, right?
I would be shocked by that.
How about the Minnesota Vikings? Are the Vikings willing to, even though with Aaron Jones, are the Vikings ready to move up that far to get this playmaking football playing, Jesse? Are they? That's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say somebody goes to Arizona, moves up. Jeremiah Love's the 3rd pick, and it's somebody outside the top 10. That's what I'll say.
I like it. I like it. The team being really talked about moving up to 3 is the New Orleans Saints for a pass rusher, not for Jeremiah Love. Wouldn't shock me there with Alvin Kamara. I know they signed Travis Etienne, but again, Etienne
Love's better than both at this stage.
Back really,
and Love is
yeah. So that wouldn't shock me, but I think if they move up, I think it's more for an edge rusher, in my opinion, especially with losing Cam Jordan this offseason. But it's finally here. When we come back tomorrow, we'll be breaking down the first round picks, and we can quit talking about what if. We can talk about what is, and then we can look ahead to Friday night and see who's the best available. Is Ty Simpson still available? Real quick, does he go in the first round?
Late
first round.
And if he falls out of the first round, Carson Beck gets drafted ahead of him. How's that? How's that for another one?
What are the chances both of them? Because why teams like to do this and trade into the late first to get their quarterback if it's like that? Because they get that 5th-year option.
That's right.
You get that extra year of control. Whereas if it's a second rounder, you only get 4 years, and then you got to tag them if you want to keep them, and you can't get that extension done. And the tag is, $50+ million now on a 1-year deal.
I'm going to say there's a better chance.
At 28,
right.
You like it.
Right. I'm going to take the chance that there's better chance that 1 goes in the first round, not 3. How's that?
Okay.
But I think there's going to be intrigue, the temptation to draft Beck, because when he walks into the room, he just if the interceptions and those were cut down, he would be the second quarterback taken. But unfortunately, they weren't. But I think, and I agree with Herbstreit, just his presence alone, and he won a lot in college, played a lot of football. I think that's going to sit with somebody pretty early in the draft, earlier than some may think.
All right. Well, we'll see when we get here tomorrow. 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. We will break it all down for you. Get over to YouTube at UNPAVED Sean Salisbury. Like and subscribe to the channel. Get all the notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday at the same time. Follow him at Sean Unfiltered on Twitter. Myself at Adam G. Sager. Thanks to Bailey Laura, our behind the scenes. All these graphics, all the social media stuff you see, they are responsible for it all, and it's all great and fantastic. And then our viewers, listeners, and commenters. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central.
Thank you, guys. And the Viking thing for that Viking love. Yep, right there in the background. That's Denver Broncos game. Back when we came from behind and beat them. There you go. Enjoy the NFL draft tonight. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace. UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.